Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to another exciting design tutorial with UXmate. Today we are going to learn how to create a cool functional login screen in Figma. Yes, and we are going to make it, from scratch. We'd be creating a login screen, we'd be using variables to make sure users are entering the data username and password in the login screen, and if they have entered correct username and password, we'll redirect them to a dashboard page, and if they entered incorrect username password, we will be restricting them and will be showing an error message. Everything we are going to do right inside in the Figma. Okay, so I hope you would be enjoying this video, and by end of this video you will get a lot of exciting knowledge about Figma, a lot of tricks and techniques about using variables and how to create cool interactions in Figma. So let's jump into the video and get started with it. So we'd be creating a login screen where user can select the username, they can type in the username, and they can type in the password as well if they haven't added any password, or if they typed any incorrect username or password. On click of the login button will show a error message as well, invalid credentials, something like this. And then if they entered the correct username and password, they would able to log in and go to the dashboard or any other screen in the application. And this entire interaction we are going to build inside the Figma from scratch. So by end of this video you are going to learn a lot of exciting Figma tricks, a lot of things about variables in Figma, and how to create a functional prototype in Figma. So stay tuned and get started with the video. Well, before that, make sure you're already subscribed to the channel and hit the bell icon next to it, because if you're not doing that, you're going to miss a lot of exciting design content. Yes, because we'd be uploading a lot of exciting Figma tricks, UX tutorials, UI design tutorials, and a lot of things on our channel. So stay tuned, keep watching, keep learning. So let's get started with this tutorial. I already created the entire interaction, but what I'm going to do is I'll be basically restarting or recreating everything from scratch. So I guess I don't need to recreate the components because those are very simple components. What I'll do, I'll first remove all the interactions. Okay, I'll select all of these, or I'll keep these are minor interactions. I'll just select this and I'll remove. Okay, so now we have removed all interactions, and we are going to do it from scratch. So let me also go to the variables and delete all variables for now. Delete collection. Great. So now we have clean slate and we will be starting from scratch. So first I'll explain what components we have already created. So we have a username and a password input field component. If you look at this, it has two states. One is active, other one is selected, and we are going to change the states or swap the states on click of the active and inactive button. Okay, apart from that, we have a keyboard which also has two states, where we have a boolean property is keyboard active. If you don't know how to create boolean properties for components, you can check out the video. I'll put the link in the description, as well as if you can see the info icon on top right corner, you can see I'll be having a link of how to create the boolean variables in Figma and how to assign them to the component. So with that you can easily toggle between the variables, and with the change of the variables you can easily switch the components and the variants of the components. Okay, so then apart from that, we only have this login button, nothing fancy. It is very simple login button, just a simple frame with an auto layout in it. And then I have created a error button here, which is like the error message, which is again a simple auto layout frame where we have our error message and a simple reddish kind of shade and a border to it. So apart from that, what I have did here is I have created a after delay interaction to the error message, because we would be triggering the error message on click of login if credentials are incorrect or invalid. But we need a way to close the error message automatically, because user will not close the error message and retry it. So we should be doing it automatically. So what we have is nothing fancy. We have an after delay interaction of 2 seconds, and which will just close the overlay. That's it, very simple. And then rest of the things, it could be anything from your design. I've just added the YouTube screenshot of our channel. So yes, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon, and also check out our all other videos. Also guys, you can check out the website as well, uxmate.co.in, where you can find all the exciting blogs about UX design and a lot of my exciting cool stuff on the website. Also recently we have created a list of books that every UX designer should have it in their collection. I would say every designer, not only UX designer, because those books are very great assets to have if you are going to be a designer, or if you are planning to be a UX designer, or you are already an established or UX practitioner. I would recommend go and check out the website. I'll be having link in the description as well. Check out the books which we have curated for a better in-depth understanding of the UX fundamentals and principles by established authors or established UX practitioners. So yes, very simple setup. So let's get started with it. I already removed all the local variables, so we'll start creating the variables first. So I'll first guide you what exactly interactions which we are going to create. So first thing is when click of username or password, we would be changing their state. Okay. Second thing is when user is selecting username or password, we would be showing the keyboard dynamically. Yes, and we would be adding interactions to the individual keys. On click of these keys, user will able to type in username and password, and then when they click on login, we would be checking if username and passwords are correct or not. Okay, so for that, let's go step by step. Let's first create variables which we need. So deselect everything, click on local variables. You'll be seeing the blank local variable panel. So let's start creating the variables. Create variable. First we'd be creating string variables to store our default username and password. So I'll say user name equals to be ABC. I'll just keep it very simple for tutorial. You can have an actual username where you can say any email ID. Let's say contact@uxmate.co.in, which could be anything. You could have any email ID or anything, but just to make sure we wrap it up quickly and just you guys understand the fundamentals or the principles of how to do this, or the tricks and techniques. So that's also, we'll keep it very simple. We'll be having username. Let's create one more variable for password. I'll be using a string itself, password. Okay, and let's have the same value, ABC. Okay, so our basic variables, these variables are going to store your actual values for the username and password. But now we need variables to store the inputs from the username and password, right? So we'll be creating two more variables for the same. So let's create a string variable, input username. Okay, and we'll be creating one more, input password. Create a string, input password. Great. And we'll be assigning a blank values to them, because we'll be dynamically adding the values which user is going to type here. Now we have created input username, input password, username and password variable, but now we need to change or create a boolean variable to toggle the keyboard, right? So yes, based on the selected field, we are going to dynamically add the values to these variables, but when click of this, we'll be using same keyboard. Okay, we'll not use different keyboards. We can create different instances of the keyboard, and we can switch to those instances, but that would be a bit complicated, and we don't need to do that much complicated, because it is nothing but the same things which we'd be doing. Just we'd be adding one more extra variant and maintaining that variant unnecessarily. So now let's create a variable to determine if the keyboard is active or not. So as you know, I said I already have a property defined here, is keyboard active. Okay, so I'd be creating the boolean variable with the same name, create variable, and this is going to be a boolean variable, is keyboard active, and by default that is going to be false because we want to show keyboard only if user is selecting username or password input field. Okay, so let's pause creation of the variables for now because we'd be creating more variables, but as of now let's just create the interactions between the these variables itself. So let me just close this panel. Let me by default make this off. Okay, and first thing first, let's assign the variables wherever required. So let's select the keyboard and to the property of the keyboard where we have this boolean switch, let's assign the is keyboard active variable. So now whenever we will be changing is keyboard active variables value, based on the value, we'll be assigning that value to the state of the keyboard. So if it is true or false based on the actual value of this variable, this property is going to be dynamically switched. Okay, so now next thing is we'd be assigning our input username and input password variables to the strings which we have here. So if you see we have input text here where we'd be assigning the variables. We need input username for the username. Let's go to the password. So if you notice, the structure of this component is this is a label, then we have a frame to show the actual input box, and within that frame we have a blank text placeholder. Okay, and to that blank text holder we are going to assign the variables. Make sure you are selecting input username and input password variables because actual username and password variables contains the value to the actual username and password. Now let's create on-click interactions on username and password, and on-click of those would be opening up the keyboard. Okay, so now select the first input field. Okay, and let's create an interaction. So as of now we don't have any interactions. Let's create an on-click interaction. On-click of this, what we have to do is, first of all we need to change the property. Okay, change to selected, because when we click on this we need to change it to the active or the selected state where user is going to type in. Now next thing is we need to show the keyboard. Okay, so I'll be adding one more action here, add action, and which is going to be a set variable, and which variable would be setting is keyboard active to true. So whenever we click on this we will be enabling the keyboard. Okay, now do it same for the password as well. Let's create a quick on-click interaction. Change to, would be changing it to the selected state. Would be creating a set variable, and this is going to be is keyboard active to true. So now you would be saying, okay, in both cases we are making it true. When we will be making it false? Yes. So when we click outside of the input field, which is the entire frame. So when we click anywhere on the frame, we are going to switch that is active variable to is active keyboard variable to false. So let's create a on click interaction to the entire frame. Okay, on click of this, it is going to be simple set variable is keyboard active to false. Okay, so now we have basic structure ready. Let's just test this interaction if it is working as expected or not. Yes, on click of username my keyboard is visible. When I click outside my keyboard is hidden. When I click on password, again my keyboard is visible. When I click outside my keyboard is again visible. You can manage the states for the username and password components as well based on your variables, but I haven't created it with a boolean property, so let's just keep it as it is. So yes, we can do that, but yes, let's just quickly work on the actual logic. Now we have created username and password. Now next thing is how we are going to change the actual inputs, right? So before that, let's do a quick thing. What I generally prefer when you are to create a keyboard. Basically, you should be creating variables and then assign those variables, or use those variables in your instructions. But we can skip that stage because that is going to be an one extra step which can be completely avoided, which it is also a good or bad, however you want to treat it. Let me just bring it outside the frame, or let me just for now remove this is active, and just switch it on for now, or you guys can alternatively go to the variables and switch it on for now. So we'll be seeing keyboard all the time while we are creating the interactions. So now close this for now and go to the, as I said, I don't want to make it very lengthy, so what I have did is I have created a shorter username which is ABC. So we would be just creating interactions on these three buttons. In the same fashion, you can create the similar interaction on each and every key of the keyboard to make your keyboard functional, and you can change or swap the use the uppercase or lower cases as well based on your but that needs an extra interaction which we are not going to do. And the same way you can create all the interactions. Okay, so now let's select the alphabet, first alphabet or first key, you can say A. Okay, now what we have to do is we have to create an on click interaction, and it is going to be a conditional behavior. Okay, why do we need a conditional behavior here? Because we want to determine if input box, if the selected input box is username or password, but we haven't created any variable for that so far. So let's first create a variable. Okay, let me just close this. You can create a variable from here as well, but let's create a variable first. And this variable is again going to be a boolean variable, because either user would be selecting username or password, and we are going to make it is username selected, or is username itself. Let's create a boolean is user name, and which is going to be false by default, or you can make it true, because by default first user will be selecting username. But anyways, it doesn't matter. Now what we have to do is slightly we need to modify the interactions which we created for username and password. So this is good. On click of selected, everything is good. Set variable is also good. Now we need to add one more interaction here, which is going to be a conditional interaction, right? So now we'll be checking if is username equals to false. I guess we can completely avoid this conditional, because anyways whenever user is going to hit on the username, we are anyways going to make it true, and if they hit on password, we are anyways going to make it false. So let's just make it very simple. Set variable is username equals to true. Okay, now select the password. Same way, create one more interaction which is set variable, and is username equals to false. Now this variable will always let us know if user has selected username or password. Okay, now let's go to the keyboard. Okay, let's continue this. If is username equals to true, in that case what I have to do, I have to add an action, and I need to change the variable. Which variable I'd be changing? Now my username is active, so I'd be adding anything which user is going to add, which is going to be added into the username input username variable. So it'd be saying set variable input username equals to, would be getting the current value of the input username, plus we'd be appending a string which is a in this case. And that's what there instead of having those strings, what we can do is, let me just show you another way. That's what I was saying, as you guys can create variables for each and every key. As we are creating just it for the 3 keys. I'll show you how to create a variable and use that here as well. Let's go to the local variables. You guys can create a group of the variables. So let's select all these string variables, create a group here, and this group is to handle inputs, okay, or you can say inputs only. Now these are your switches, so let's create a group, switches, and now we need to create keys, right? So let's create a variable which is going to be a string variable a, and my value would be a. You can use modes to toggle between caps and uppercase and lowercase, but modes are if your plan is for teams, you're not able to create more than 4 modes. If your plan is professional, then you can create up to, I guess, 120 or something like that, or I guess 44 or 50 modes kind of thing. So you can create more modes where you can switch the value, but yes, I guess to do this you would be needing only 2 modes, but then that is going to be a complicated thing, because you have to change each and every variable on click of your caps lock button or uppercase button. Okay, so we'll be just creating 3 variables for now, a, b, c. Now let's create another variable string b, and would be assigning the same value b, and let's create one more variable c. Okay, and I'll select all these 3 variables, I'll group them together, and I'll say keyboard. I know guys, this tutorial is going to be a bit lengthy, and you might be feeling a lot of things, but what I would suggest is go through each and every step, try to follow it along with the video, and if it is becoming a bit overwhelming, I would recommend watch entire video first, and then try to follow it along with the video, and then once you do it with the video, then try to do it your own. So by this you would be first grasping it in your memory, then you would be recreating it with the video, so which will help you to practice what you have learned so far. And the third thing would be you would be doing it practically your own. So and also guys, don't skip any step, because if you skip any of the step, you will not get the exact results what we are going to get by end of this video. So be sure to follow each and every step and watch the entire video. If you have if you have not checked any other videos on variables on our channel, first I would recommend to go and watch those videos, because those videos are kind of basic introduction to variables, where you would be learning how to create string variables, how to create boolean variables, how to create color variables, how to use those variables in the prototypes, and get familiar with those, because this tutorial is a bit advanced, because we are going to use a lot of conditions, and but if you do it properly, you would understand it very easily. So we have created the basic variables for the keyboard. We can create more variables from A to Z, but we don't want to go that much lengthy, so we are just creating it for 3 buttons, A, B, C. Now let me close this, go to the A, go to the prototype, and in the condition, if username is equal to true, what I'll do, I'll just remove this, and I'll select B and C together, and I'll add the interaction on a single go. So let me create an interaction on click, conditional if is username equals to true, then add action, and I'll be doing a set variable where input username equals to input username plus whatever the keys which user is going to press. As we'd be needing different keys, but just to create the common interaction, I'll select A for now. Okay, this is good for the if statement. If my input if my input username is selected, then only I'll go to the if block where I'd be assigning input username, the value to the input username, whatever user is going to click here. Now go to the else block where what we will be doing, if my is username is false. So if it is not true, it is false by default. So go to the else. Now we'll be doing a set variable, same way, but for now, instead of username, we would be doing input password, and which is going to be to okay, what it is doing, to input password plus a. Okay, let me just cross check this. I guess we messed here. Make sure you are selecting the correct variables, because the current conditional panel or the interaction panel is a bit still Figma needs a lot of work on this. But yep, select input password in the else block if input password is input password plus a for now. So what we are doing, if username is set to true, I'll add my value to the input username. Okay, and if my is username variable is set to false, I'll go to the else block and I'll add it to the input password, right? So now let's just close this and now modify the conditions for B and C individually. We'd be having the entire conditions as it is. Let me just expand this, and now instead of A, I just say B. Okay, and same for the else block as well. Instead of A, I'll say B. And let's do it same for the third key, which is C. And you guys can do the same for all of the keys. Just you need to create all those variables for all the keyboard keys and just have to change them on the places. So that's why I'm just showing it for 3 keys, because it is going to be a repetitive information which is not necessary. And this time it is going to be C. Okay, so what we did, we have assigned A, B and C values of these keys, and we are appending it to whatever variable is user has selected. If they have selected username, we will append it to the username. If they have selected password, we will append it to the password. Okay, now let's test this if it is working fine. Select the username, start typing A. Okay, select the password, start typing something else. Okay, great, it is working as expected. Now when I click outside, my keyboard is hidden. When again I click on username, and if I start typing, I can still maintain the state, whatever value which I have added to my variable, and I can still create the or keep on typing into the same thing. So if you create interaction for all of the keys, the same way user can type in the all of the letters which are on your keyboard. Okay, for now let's just close this, and now let's build the actual logic which is going to be on click of login button. So first what we have to do is we have to check if the input username and input password is equal to username and password which is stored in our local variable, right? So that's why we have created those 2 variables. So what we'll be doing, we'll be checking input username against username, and we'll be checking input password against password, right? So let's do this. On click of login button, go to prototype. On click of login, create an interaction. On click, first it is going to be a conditional behavior. Okay, conditional behavior. If input username is equal to username and make sure you are hitting 2 ampersands and input password is equal to passwords. So look at the condition. If input username equals to username and input password is equal to password, okay, if it is matching, we will go to the if block, and what we'll be doing here, we'll be applying a navigate to. and it is going to be navigate to dashboard. Okay, so when I click on login, it will check if my username and passwords are correct. If those are correct, it will take me to the dashboard. If those are incorrect, you can add your animation as well, like moving from the left, right, whatever which you want. It could be very fancy. So let's just create a move in for now. And if it is not matching, then it is going to be go in the else block, right? So in the else blocks, what we are going to do, we are going to open a overlay. Which overlay would be opening? Error message. Okay, and I'll be saying okay, manual, and I'll adjust this somewhere here, just above the keyboard, because user will be seeing, or it will informing user, okay, something is not right here, and automatically it is going to be closed because we already created that delay into the error message component or the frame. Okay, so now test this interaction, and this should be a complete working example. So let's just click on username. Okay, type it ABC, and just let's try it hitting login. Okay, it is not correct because we haven't entered password yet. Definitely for each and every state, if your password is empty, you can create multiple different error messages and you can open them. But the same way, just your conditions would be different, and you would be creating multiple conditions in the login case. So for now, we have created one condition. If you need to check if my password is empty, you can create same way, like the condition will be where, and then you'd be saying input password is equal to blank, or 0 or something like that. So with this, you can check all different states, or all different conditions. So but yeah, the having simple error message in the Figma prototype is more than enough for your actual testing purpose. So now let's type in the correct password, ABC. Okay, and when I hit login, great, it have taken me to the dashboard, or the whatever page you have designed. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. If not, do it right now, because you still have a lot of time. So hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the bell icon as well. Let's close this. And yes, actually we are done with the basics. So let me just go back and change the variable which we have created true for now, which is keyboard active, just to create the interactions. Now we are done with creating interactions. Let's just disable this, or make it false. Let me show you one more trick, guys. Let me just select the key A, and let's close this, go to the prototype. Let me go to the conditions. Let me copy this. I cannot copy the entire condition. Okay, no worries. Let me show you one more way, guys, where you can use your actual keyboard as well, your physical keyboard of the device, if you're going to test this on a computer. But if it is going to be on mobile, then you cannot do anything. You have to do it this way itself. But let me show you a way where you can use your actual keyboard to enter the data on the input fields, right? So let me just create one test frame for now. It could be a simple test frame. Okay, and I'll be creating a text, simple text. Okay, my input is okay, and I'll be just duplicating this because we are going to assign a variable to this. Let me change the color to red, and let me just scale it up. Doesn't matter, you can keep it anyway. And go to the variables. Let's just create an extra variable. Keyboard input, and value would be blank. So what we'll be doing, we'll be assigning this keyboard input variable to this string, and would be on type of any key on your keyboard, you'd be adding that key to the variable. Okay, so let's just close the variable panel, select your input key, assign this variable keyboard input. Now select your test frame. Let's just create a starting point for the testing purpose, test keyboard. Okay, and now create an interaction, and instead of on click, it is going to be key gamepad. Okay, so when you select key gamepad, and now when you hit the, or let me just show it you again. When you select key gamepad, it says click to select. When you click here, it shows press any key. So now whenever you press any key on your keyboard, for now let's press A. So now when I hit A, it will ask me what exactly you have to do. Now when I hit A on my keyboard, what I have to do is I have to set a variable. You can apply all the same conditional behavior which we have created in username and password keyboard. Okay, but as of now, just I'll create a simple set variable just to show how it works. Keyboard input. Now I'll be selecting keyboard input, and I'll be adding the A to this keyboard input plus A. Okay, you can do it however you want. Let's just keep it a smaller case for now. Okay, sorry, this needs to be in string because we are not using any variable. It is a string, so it has to be in double quotes. Okay, now we have created a simple interaction. Let's create the same way for other keys as well. Let's create let's just close this. On click, instead of on click, let's say key, and this time let's do it for the B. Okay, and same way, set variable, and this is going to be keyboard input plus keyboard input into the quotes B. Okay, and you can create in the same way for multiple keys. So you can use shift and or the combinations of the keys to create it more dynamic and more advanced logic. So let's say if it is shift plus A, in this case we are going to add a capital A. So set variable keyboard input, which is equal to keyboard input plus, in quotes, this time it is going to be a capital A. Okay, so now just test this interaction. So what we have did, as of now we have A, B and shift A interactions. Okay, now let me test this. Now let me hit A, B, shift A, B, A. So with this, I'm actually pressing the keys on my keyboard, and those inputs are being recorded in Figma, and you can use rest of the logic same way which we have created. So with this, you can create an actual functional login screen for a desktop as well as a mobile application. I hope guys you have enjoyed this video, and make sure you hit the bell icon, and don't forget to like the video, because that is going to give us motivation to create more such amazing videos for you. And if you have any doubts, definitely reach out to me in comments. Definitely will answer all your doubts, and be sure to check out our website www.uxmate.co.in, where you would be finding a lot of exciting blogs about UX design, about the different fundamentals in UX design. Recently we have published a blog on conversation design, how you can get started with conversation design, because conversation is an very undividable or very attached part of a human being, or a human life, because every day we start our day and we end our day with conversation, with communication. It could be with yourself, it could be with others, your friends, family members. It could be in a coffee shop, on a meeting, in your office. It could be a communication to yourself, or it could be a communication to a computer device, or a mobile device, or anything. Communication is a vital part of human being, and definitely being an UX designer, you must understand communication design and bring that aspect into the designs which you are going to create. So be sure to check out the blogs which give you more insights about UX design and UX principles and fundamentals. Till our next video, keep watching, keep learning, keep designing.